I'm Lisa Becharas. I'm a professional triathlete, and this is actually my 7th year competing at the professional level. I do dabble in some off-road triathlon races and do long endurance mountain bike races.
2, 1, we are off and running the Leadville.
So when I first started competing, I had zero nutrition plan. I just threw things together. I was eating gummy bears on bike rides. I was guzzling gallons of Coke, and over the years, I've learned that I actually need a strategy. I have to have a target of carbohydrates and a target of electrolytes I need every single race per hour. So I think it's become a lot more dialed since I've maybe matured a little bit more as an athlete, and I think we're in the kind of entering an era where we are trying to eat way more carbohydrates than athletes did maybe like 10 years ago. So we're in the era of carbohydrates, and I'm all about it. There's a specific ride I remember, and I had a 4-hour endurance ride, and I remember during that ride I probably took in maybe 20 grams of carbohydrates for the first 3 hours, and the last hour of the ride I literally pulled over to the side of the road and I had to stop. I had to get off my bike because I felt so sleepy that I was bonking so much, and after that ride the bonking just basically took maybe three or 4 days to actually overcome. So I learned my lesson in that I really need to dial in nutrition, for my training rides, not just racing. In the final couple of days leading up to a race, I will actually aim to get a really big carb-heavy dinner in about 2 nights before the main event, and then the breakfast the day before the event, I really try to add on maybe a couple of extra pancakes, maybe a donut in there, just to make that breakfast really heavy. And then I usually eat like a normal lunch, and just a dinner that I'm confident that will settle well in my stomach before the race. On race morning, I typically start my day with some Starbucks coffee out of the jug that my boyfriend thinks is disgusting. And I usually just do maybe 100 milligrams worth of caffeine, or a cup to a cup and a half of coffee. I really should measure my caffeine more. And then I will do an English muffin, big English muffin fan, with some butter and some jelly on top. And then timing wise, I aim for about, before a bike race is about 2 hours. If I were to do a triathlon, I aim for about that 3-hour time frame, just because I think I need a little bit more time to settle my stomach. And then I usually eat some sort of granola bar about an hour before. And then right before the race starts, I suck down a pH caffeine gel to get me hyped and ready to go. When I'm traveling, I do my best to find foods that I'm comfortable with eating and foods that I'm familiar with. So typically the night before a race, I like to eat some sort of chicken. I like to get a little bit of vegetables just because it sits well with my stomach, and then I like to do a big portion of carbohydrates, usually a rice or a pasta. And then if I'm in a foreign country and they're serving not a lot of food that I'm familiar with, I usually just stick with pizza, and that works well for me too. When I race, I typically aim for about 90 grams of carbs per hour. However, for bike races, I like to aim for a little bit higher because I don't have to worry about running off the bike. So typically in bike races, I'm going to aim for closer to 100 grams of carbs an hour, and that seems to have settled well with my stomach in the past. When I compare triathlon and a big mountain bike race, I think that there are different challenges for both events. In the triathlon, I'm worried more about what my stomach's going to feel like on the run, and I don't want to run with an upset stomach. Whereas I think with the long mountain bike races, The challenge is just to keep remembering to fuel. Where I've been doing triathlon for so long that it's kind of second nature now to just, oh yeah, this is what I eat when I ride my bike and on the run. So it's just a little bit more of a logistical plan that I have to go in with for the longer mountain bike races. When I first started training, I think my gut definitely was not adapted to absorbing a whole bunch of carbohydrates per hour. So over the past couple of years, I've been so much better in training about actually trying to hit between 80 to 90 grams of carbs in those higher aerobic sessions that I'm doing, that I have been able to basically train my gut to absorb more energy and more carbohydrates per hour. And I've seriously felt that as I've done that, and over the years, I've felt that I've become a stronger athlete just because I'm able to absorb more and then basically go faster when I'm racing. I think over the years I've gotten a lot better at listening to my body and being more in tune at what it wants, whether that's I need some more sodium or I need some more carbohydrates or I need some more water. So I do like to pay attention to that when I'm racing. If I feel myself getting more in kind of like a carbohydrate low, I'll actually try to take, maybe like more than I would think I would need. So I'd like to take like 2 gels, just because I know I'm going to need a little bit more to kind of get over that hump and maybe get back more towards that baseline of 100 grams per hour. When it comes to tactics of the race, this is something that I'm still learning how to actually race, especially on the mountain bike, because I come from a triathlon background and we're not known for our bike handling skills. I think I'll follow tactics if girls are making moves more towards the end of the race versus the beginning, just because I think I can maybe get away with passing through an aid station, the last aid station at the end of a race, versus if I pass through the first 2 aid stations, I'm gonna dig myself into a hole that I'm not gonna be able to get out of, and I won't even be in the tactics of the race at the end of the race. I guess we'll see how tactics play out, because I can say one thing and then race day comes and I might be just chasing that pack. As I've become a little bit more of a mature athlete, I have taken post-race recovery a little bit more seriously. So when it comes to finishing a race, I do really like to focus on trying to get in some sort of carbohydrate drink that'll help kind of kickstart my recovery, and also really focus on hydrating through the rest of that night, just because I know I'm going to be way behind on where I should be. My post-race meal totally depends on if I actually hit my fueling strategy, but if I nailed it, I'm usually craving something more savory. So I usually like to do like a big juicy burger with like maybe like a jar of pickles on the side and a milkshake.